while the Democrats was over there making a scene and getting paid for it, the Republicans was over in Texas and Eagle Pass because they didn't think that just because they won the election that it was okay for them not to take advantage of and address what was happening at our borders. They was over at the borders, still to this day, making sure that they address our troops, making sure that Border Patrol know that they got their back, and also making sure that our borders stay safe. They are there. We had to beg Kamala Harris, we had to beg Biden to go over to the border, but we don't have to do that with our Vice President, J.D. Vance and Tulsi Gabbard. Pete Hegseth, they all at the border and they taking care of business.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and I appreciate.
Hey, it's so funny. We never heard from Kamala Harris until she was running for president. We say J.D. Vance literally everywhere. He's an extension of the president.
Being here.
And I see you, Tulsi. I see you, Tulsi. I see you, Tulsi. Man, the ladies, bro, I can't even lie to you. I can't lie to y'all. I can't even lie to you. The ladies, they are something else. You know what I'm talking about. Desiree, I can't help I'm sorry, Desiree. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't help myself. I love these. It's nothing like a woman that is well put together. Whew. Oh, I don't know. Democrats let that one get away. Shout out to Tulsi. And nose jeans.
It's great to be here. It's great to talk to some of the incredible people that we have, both at the local level, the Texas state level, and also, of course, our federal border patrol, who are doing so many good things to keep us safe. And I have some bad news and some good news. And the bad news is that because of what Joe Biden did at the southern border for 4 years, we had record increases in migrant crime, in fentanyl deaths, and in just floods and floods of people who shouldn't be in our country who came into the United States of America. We also have a number of ways in which the cartels became more.
What is elephant hips, Quentin? What is elephant hip? You know what? I got a question for after hours to start the show off. I think it's going to be a wild night. I don't even know what elephant hips are. Good God.
More advanced, better war fighters because Joe Biden opened up the American southern border and allowed the cartels to turn it into their playground. Now, that's the bad news. The good news is, as President Trump said last night at the State of the Union, it turns out we didn't need new laws. We didn't need fancy legislation. We just needed a new president of the United States. And thank God that's exactly what we have. And I will say that the most heartening message that I take away from my visit here at the Texas border is the number of Border Patrol agents who have come up to me and said, thank you, or said, because of this, we've cut the number of border crossings from 1,500 a day to 30 a day. Or the people who have come up and said, we've seen a reduction in 85% of the number of people who are dying at the American southern border. And every single day that we continue to keep this border safe, that means less migrant crime, that means less fentanyl coming into our communities, that means more safety and security for the people of the United States of America. And of course, we know the border problem, the border crisis under Biden's administration was a national crisis, but it acutely affected the communities right here. And I've already heard heartbreaking stories of people who are still picking up the pieces, local mayors who are still dealing with the budgetary consequences of what the Joe Biden administration allowed to happen at the American southern border. And that, too, is something that President Trump is going to help address, help fix, and help solve. Now, I wanted to bring Secretary Hegseth and Director Gabbard at DNI down here because, one, I obviously enjoy their company, and it's good to have them down here with me looking around today. But unfortunately, we know that because of what's happened, the border crisis has become a matter of national intelligence.
Hold on. Stop this. Hold on. Wait a minute. Eric D. I got to bring Eric D to the front of the congregation. Eric D says, y'all just fawning over her because she's on the red team. Jasmine Crocker looks better than Tulsi all day. Now listen, You know, I like my black queens. I'm not even going to front. But I don't know what you are smoking. I don't know. You need to get them jasmine shades off. You know how they say I got Molly shades? Bruh. What are you smoking, Eric? Eric, what are you smoking? Are you on crack? And this is the honest to God truth. I genuinely want to know, is something wrong? You need to pray. You need to go and ask God for better judgment, bro. You got to ask God for better judgment. Ain't no way that them butterfly eyelashes is in any way, shape, or form touching Tulsi Gabbard. That's just my own personal opinion. I know that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Do your thing, Eric. If that's what you're going for, then we know that everybody got somebody. Everybody got somebody that's for them. But ain't no way in the world, ain't no way on God's green earth you going to try to convince me that Tulsi Gabbard runs a distant second to Jasmine Crockett. Stop it, bro. Stop it. Let's get back to the border, man. I don't know what you on.
And it's also become something that requires the Department of Defense to engage with. I was talking with Paul Perez earlier. The drone technology that the cartels are using requires, unfortunately, a military response and military support. So it was important for Secretary Hegseth to see what's going on, because we know that the millions and millions of people who were let in over the last 4 years, many of them are connected to foreign terrorists. It's important for our leader of national intelligence to get us to what's here on the ground. So before we take questions from the press, and all of us are willing to take questions, I want to give Secretary Hegseth and then Director Gabbard an opportunity to say a few words themselves. Mr. Secretary.
Well, Mr. Vice President, thank you very much for inviting us. It's great to be here with you, with the director, with our fellow friends in civilian clothes and in other shades of green. This is a demonstration of a true partnership on the southern border. As President Trump has made clear on the campaign trail and from day one and last night, border security is national security. And from the Defense Department, we've watched for a couple of decades other people's borders being secured while ours was open for an invasion of drugs and of violence and of chaos for American communities. That stops under President Trump. And the Defense Department has assets that we can bring to bear, not just troops, not just surveillance, not just equipment, but actual planning and capabilities that enhance what Border Patrol is already doing, which is
one thing I never understood about borders and American troops, just the military in general, is I know that we have the strongest military in the world, and our investment in the military, we're not talking about all of the resources that's being wasted, but our investment in the military is one of the reasons why we're so strong and why we're able to have the level of freedoms that we have inside of the United States of America. However, even though I know that we have special interests in other countries, I never understood why we don't manage and leverage our military for us here inside of the United States of America. So, for example, we spend all of this money, we spend these resources, we pay our military an egregious amount of money. The military is one of the largest budget items in our spending in the United States of America. I never understood why we didn't leverage our military to make sure that we get control of these cities. When you have outbreaks, when you have our borders out of control, why wouldn't we use our military, our resources, the defenses and the capabilities to patrol our borders and to make sure that we enforce the laws that's already on the books? And maybe I'm just off, but I don't understand it. Why don't we use our military for things that's on America or for America or in America's best interest or in American soil? Why is the military only used for international situations in most instances? I don't understand it. How come our military don't serve us? We pay for it as taxpayers. How come we don't use them for our borders? How come we don't use that on American soil? How come we don't use it to prevent people from dying from fentanyl coming into the United States of America? I'm trying to understand it, y'all. And maybe y'all can help me. because, you know, it's some things that I may not be as well versed on. If you ask me anything about real estate, I could break it down for you. Ask me anything about banking, I could absolutely break it down for you. If you ask me something about politics, I'm pretty well versed in it. Everything as far as the military, I may not be familiar with or I may not fully understand, but why don't we deploy more of our military resources, assets, technology, planning, and having them work with our borders, our waters, all of that type of stuff? And obviously, I'm not the only person that don't understand it. So why don't we? Military cannot police within the country, but they can't police the border. Okay, so why can't they police the border again? That's within our country, right? That way we would stop cartels and people from coming over here illegally more. Why wouldn't we deploy them for our border? It's not about policing, it's about using the resources and the assets strategically, right? No? So why do we spend all of this money for the military if it doesn't benefit us?
Why it's been incredible to hear from our partners about what we've been able to allow them to do, facilitate them, and we've seen it in the numbers. 98% drop in crossings on the southern border. We're not yet at 100% operational control, but we are on our way because that is the mandate that the president has given us. So more resources are coming to this border. We are dedicated to securing it. That's the reason for our trip and our partnership. And I want to thank all the men and women who've been doing it recently in uniform, who have been doing it a long time right here, have dedicated their lives to securing the American people. And at the Defense Department, we are committed to continuing to being a big part of it. So, Mr. Vice President, thanks for having us.
Absolutely, man. Thank you. Great. Now, Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President, for your leadership and bringing the country's attention to what has been happening.
You're telling me that Jasmine Crockett looks better than Tulsi Gabbard with a regular Tulsi Gabbard with an American flag hat on and a flannel, in my personal opinion, is 10 times better than a dressed up Jasmine Crockett. It ain't even close. And it ain't even close. Not even a little bit. Not even close.
The border and the significant change that has already occurred under the short time that President Trump has been in office. Really what you're seeing here today and what you'll continue to see is a unified effort across President Trump's national security team, the Department of Homeland Security, towards our mission, which is to ensure a safe, free, and prosperous society for Americans. As Director of National Intelligence, there are a number of areas where we are focused. The president talked about in his speech, over 21 million people have come across our borders illegally under Joe Biden's administration. There are many of them that we don't know who they are. They have not been vetted. We don't know where they are. I'll give you one quick example of one of the problems that we are getting after. From Central Asia, there were over 4,000 people who came across our borders using an ISIS-affiliated network. Our National Counterterrorism Center went through and identified those individuals. There were hundreds of them who were either known terrorists or associated with known terrorists. That information was provided to the Biden administration. You may remember in some of the news, a little over 100 of those people were arrested in 2024. Of those who were arrested, only 8 were either deported or remained in custody. Only 8. The rest of them were released back into our country. Where are they? What are they doing? What may they be plotting? This is just the beginning. There are many, many areas that we need to stay very focused on, working with Department of Homeland Security, working with the FBI to ensure that we're keeping the American people safe.
How did the Democrats let Tulsi Gabbard, who could have probably been one of the biggest stars of the Democratic Party, to break out? That's what I'm trying to understand, honestly. We know that under the Trump administration, they're deploying countless resources to make sure that our borders are safe, that all of the people are doing their job, that people are being held accountable, and they pivoting and they change and they evolving as they do stuff. But how did y'all let her get away? Of all the people that were stars in the Democrat Party, y'all honestly let Tulsi Gabbard get away. Y'all honestly let Tulsi Gabbard get away. Interesting. Some people are saying Jasmine Crockett is all this. All right, let me just put in Jasmine Crockett. Really? Just picked on the first random picture that I seen, and I just selected Jasmine Crockett. I mean, she's just regular, but then she throwing a bunch of other stuff. So cool. Okay, so that's Jasmine Crockett. I'm gonna put Tulsi Gabbard. No, I'll take Tulsi Gabbard all day long. 100%. I'm taking Tulsi Gabbard, the beach babe, now military asset. I'm taking Tulsi Gabbard all day long. 100%. 100%. Is this her husband?